When my family planned a big summer trip to the mountains, I was thrilled. We hadn't all been together in years. And after everything we'd been through, I thought maybe this would be our reset. But a week before the trip, I got a text from my sister, Claire. It said, "Hey, change of plans. The cabin's too small. You'll have to skip this one. No phone call. No explanation. Just that." I sat there staring at the message, waiting for someone, Mom, Dad, anyone, to follow up. No one did. Later, when I asked Mom what was going on, she sighed and said, "You know how tight money is right now? Claire booked everything, and we don't want to make things complicated." Complicated. That was her word for me. I kept my mouth shut and wished them a good trip. But 2 days later, Claire called, not to apologize, but to ask a favor. "Hey, since you'll be home anyway, can you watch the kids while we're gone? It's just a week. You're great with them, and we really can't afford a sitter." I almost laughed. They'd uninvited me, but expected me to babysit? For a moment, I thought about saying yes. I loved my niece and nephew. They were innocent in all this. But then I realized what was really happening. They weren't just leaving me out. They were using me. I took a deep breath and said, "No, Claire, you'll have to figure something else out." She went quiet for a few seconds, then snapped, "Wow, so selfish. You can't even help family." That word, family, hit hard. The same family that decided I didn't deserve a seat on the trip now wanted free labor. When they finally left for their perfect mountain getaway, I stayed home. Alone, yes, but for the first time in years, I felt a strange calm. I cleaned my small apartment, made myself dinner, and reminded myself that peace sometimes starts with one small, uncomfortable no. Little did they know that no would be the start of something they'd regret. 3 days into their family trip, my phone started buzzing nonstop. Missed calls, texts, voicemails from Mom, from Claire, even from Dad, who usually stayed out of drama. I ignored them at first, figuring it was another guilt trip waiting to happen. But when Claire finally sent, "It's an emergency. Please call me," I picked up. The moment I answered, she burst into tears. "We need you to come. We can't handle this." Apparently, their dream vacation had gone downhill fast. The kids were fighting nonstop, the rental car had broken down, and the cabin Wi-Fi was terrible. My brother-in-law had stormed off after an argument with Claire, leaving her stranded with 2 screaming kids. And somehow she thought I could drive up 6 hours to help. I said calmly, "Claire, I told you I wasn't part of this trip." Her voice rose. "So you're really just going to let us suffer after everything we've done for you?" That sentence hit me like déjà vu, because that's what my family always did. Twist responsibility into guilt. Turn boundaries into betrayal. I said, "You didn't invite me to that trip, remember? You said there wasn't enough space." Her tone cracked. I know. I shouldn't have said that. But please, they're miserable. Mom and Dad are arguing. Dad's threatening to go home early. It's chaos. You're the only one who can calm them down. The irony of that sentence almost made me laugh. I'd been the family's peacemaker my whole life, so much so that they'd learned to break things just to watch me fix them. This time, I didn't go. I stayed home. The next morning, I went for a walk, made coffee, and let my phone ring. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel guilty about ignoring them. I felt free. But what came after surprised even me. 2 days later, I got a call from my brother-in-law, Mark. His voice was quiet, apologetic. "Hey," he said, "I just wanted to say, you were right about all of it. Your sister's been running everyone ragged, trying to make things perfect. The kids are exhausted. Your parents are miserable. Everyone's realizing how much they depend on you." I didn't know what to say. I just sat there, staring out the window, thinking about all the times I'd rearranged my life to keep theirs running smoothly, and how little they'd noticed until now. When they came back from the trip, my mom showed up at my door. Her hair was a mess, and she looked years older. "We should have brought you," she said softly. "It wasn't the same." I let her in. She sat at my table, sipping tea, telling me how everything went wrong. The cabin flooded one night, the car battery died, the kids got sick. Claire had a breakdown halfway through and told everyone she couldn't do this anymore. Then Mom looked at me with tears in her eyes. "You've always been the glue," she said. "We just didn't realize it until it broke." I didn't respond right away. I wanted to feel angry, vindicated, but instead I just felt sad. Sad that it took a disaster for them to see what I'd been giving all along. Later that night, Claire called too. Her tone was small, shaky. "I owe you an apology," she said. "I thought you were just being dramatic when you said you needed space. But now I get it. I really do." For the first time in our lives, she meant it. Over the next few months, the dynamic shifted. They stopped treating me like the fallback option, the person who'd always pick up the slack. When they asked for favors, they said please, and meant it. When I said no, they respected it. But the real change wasn't in them. It was in me. I stopped chasing acceptance that came with conditions. I started living on my own terms. I took that week I would have spent babysitting and signed up for an online certification course in design, something I'd always wanted to do but never had time for. Fast forward 6 months, and that course turned into a freelancing opportunity. Suddenly, I was getting paid well for doing something I actually enjoyed. I had clients, independence, and peace, and not 1 ounce of guilt about earning it for myself. Then one night, we were all at dinner again. My parents, my sister, her husband, the kids. The energy was different this time. No snide comments, no guilt trips, no invisible scoreboard. Just family, finally treating me like an equal. Halfway through the meal, my sister raised her glass. To the person who taught me that saying no can be the kindest thing you do for yourself and for others. Everyone clinked glasses. I smiled, but didn't say much, because deep down, I knew the truth. That trip had to fall apart for us to finally put things back together. They'd uninvited me, sure, but by doing that, they'd accidentally given me the best gift of all, my freedom. And this time, I didn't give it back. When they came back, their perfect trip had fallen apart. Storms, car trouble, sick kids, constant arguments. Mom showed up at my door, looking drained. "It wasn't the same without you," she said softly. Claire called later that night, voice breaking. "I'm sorry. I thought leaving you out was harmless. I get it now." I listened, calm, not bitter. For the first time, they weren't talking at me. They were talking to me. I forgave them, but not to fix things. I forgave them to finally set myself free. Since then, they've treated me differently. No more last-minute favors, no guilt trips. Just quiet respect. I realized that sometimes being left out isn't rejection, it's redirection. They lost control, and I found peace.